Spotify will stop paying artists.
And they're claiming that our artist isn't a real artist.
Let's just say that today we got some proof that they are making shit up or that they are just straight up incompetent and do not know what they are doing.
Spotify is reportedly making major changes to its royalty model. Artists will have to hit a minimum number of streams before they get paid anything. It says big changes are coming to Spotify's royalty model.
What is going on with Spotify? Never have I seen this issue with Spotify deleting music be this big. In 2020, there was a video that I did specifically about Spotify deleting people's music.
So I wanted to talk today about Spotify. Spotify deleted a lot of music. I think it's like 750,000 songs. It was your music, my music. Luckily, I wasn't affected. It turns out that the people that were probably were going about nefarious means to get streams.
The particular topic that I was talking about, though, was actually DistroKid. The thought was that DistroKid was somehow making Spotify delete everybody's music. And then, this year, it came out that Spotify wasn't going to pay any artists that were getting under 1,000 streams on a particular track. It came out later that this wasn't true. Apparently, Spotify was still paying these artists that were getting under 1,000 streams because it would be illegal to not pay them.
Spotify will stop paying artists who do not receive 1,000 streams on a song. And they just end it at that. When in reality, the only royalty stream that they can legally withhold is the sound recording, aka the master. I was questioning how this was legal. I was questioning how a platform can just decide not to pay legally guaranteed royalty streams just based on some arbitrary stream number.
But now TuneCore is in the fire pit. Aside from Spotify, TuneCore is a totally different issue, but apparently they are scamming people out of money and they are refusing to post people's tracks or taking people's tracks down without a really good explanation, while refusing to pay the artist who made the track any royalties that they earned during the time that TuneCore detected some suspicious activity.
Recap, part of the problem with TuneCore was that TuneCore wouldn't release the royalties to our client, and they're claiming that our artist isn't a real artist. It was so disrespectful how TuneCore was referring to our client, like literally calling him a scumbag, alleging all this fake streaming and not a real musician, essentially like insulting the actual music. Have you even heard the music? Like those kinds of questions being asked.
So we all know that now the distributors are going to be penalized for the fake streams, so they're really all cracking down. Everything that I've learned so far is probably CD Baby is the best way to go, because they are the only distributor that doesn't seem to be in the hot seat right now. The biggest issue seems to be Spotify is deleting everybody's music again. And playlists that are safe, their own playlists, supposedly, they are suspecting to be botted playlists, or at least the distributors are thinking that Spotify's actual playlists are botted playlists and penalizing artists by taking their music down.
I woke up this morning to this notification from DistroKid saying that 2 of my songs have been detected for having artificial streams, going so far as to say Collection the Funk Edition has 100% artificial streams. If we go under Spotify for artists, you can see I have 22,100 streams on this song. But what playlist am I on? Good Vibes, Power Hour Personalized, Radio, Beast Mode Personalized, Viral Hits, Release Radar, Your Daily Mix.
This is obviously shooting Spotify in the foot. I feel like they put rules in place that are really hurting themselves more than anybody else. First, it was Curtis King saying that he was pulling all of his music off of streaming platforms. Then Ben Jordan got flagged for botted streams. LeahJudeBeats and more. A lot of executive producers and so on and so forth that are putting their music on Spotify are being accused of botting these streams. Curtis King pulled all of his music down from streaming platforms, and he made quite a big show of it.
Young artists who are voluntarily making bullshit purposely to try to game the system.
But is that more about the consumer, though?
And I say that respectfully.
I disagreed with Curtis's decision because a lot of people, the only money that they make, as little money as it is off of these streaming platforms. So Curtis started to push this direct-to-consumer business model. And of course, big artists are coming out. They're trying to do the same exact thing, this direct-to-consumer business model. This video isn't about Spotify. It's not about DistroKid, CD Baby, TuneCore, or any of this stuff. This video is about the fact that direct-to-consumer doesn't work for small artists. Like a lot of other YouTube creators that happen to be music producers, Curtis King is talking to somebody that is more on his playing field. But I would put a bet down that most of his subscribers are not on his playing field. And a lot of his subscribers would not be able to do this direct-to-consumer model. So something like Bandcamp. Ben Jordan, he's doing a pay what you think is fair model. Also direct-to-consumer, because obviously his music was deleted from streaming platforms anyway. So what else are these guys supposed to do if they can't post their music on streaming platforms? The thing about Curtis King was, it was a personal choice, him pulling his stuff down. To my knowledge, he didn't get flagged for botted streams or anything like that. He had an issue with the 1,000 stream limit, and that was what triggered him to go ahead and pull all of his music down. We now know that that 1,000 stream limit was just false journalism. Now, for somebody my size, if I was to put my music on a direct-to-consumer platform like Bandcamp, I can guarantee right now not a soul would purchase my music. They just wouldn't. But I do get streams. Through Spotify's algorithm and Apple Music algorithm and all these algorithms, I do get streamed. Some songs more than others, obviously. But it's really the only money that I make from doing this. Because as much as I ask, nobody seems to like buying me a coffee. The link is in the description. The reason that I'm bringing all of this up is, if streaming is your only income, it's hard enough to get somebody to even stream your music. People, they'll pay for promo, like they'll pay good money to just get streams on their music through something like Spotify and Apple Music, who are actively also trying to push their music out to new listeners, but it's never really enough because the pay is so low. It's not like you can exist on the streaming money. So if people can't even get their music streamed because they're so small, how are these small artists supposed to go on something like Etsy or Bandcamp or whatever and try to sell their music in either like a physical or a digital copy? It's almost impossible. But these bigger YouTubers are acting like this is an easy thing to do, just go direct to consumer. It doesn't work that way. When you're really small, there is no such thing as direct to consumer. If I started to sell t-shirts tomorrow, nobody would buy them. If I started to sell really well-designed, awesome, high-quality t-shirts, no one would buy them because I don't have that kind of reach. If you're Curtis King, yes, people are going to go buy your music because you're out there. And out of, almost 500,000 subscribers that he has, out of all those people, there's going to be a few that are interested in going ahead and downloading his music, purchasing it direct to consumer. For the most part, though, I would hazard a guess that a majority of Curtis King's reach as far as music was through these streaming platforms. Curtis King has been talking forever about how music is his real passion and he really couldn't stand creating content. But by pulling his music off of streaming services, he shot himself in the foot. Think about the amount of people that are finding his music now. He had to depend on his content in order to pull people in, and these are people that actively watch his content. Rather than his music floating out in the ethers of the Spotify algorithm, I don't think that the solution, if your music hasn't already been deleted by these streaming platforms, is pulling your music totally down. People that found me through the Spotify algorithm started to listen to I got added to a bunch of personal playlists. They like specific songs that I did. They have no idea that I'm on YouTube, most likely. Maybe some of them do. I doubt most of them do. I don't remember the last time that I heard a song I liked where I started to research the artist. It almost is unheard of these days because of these shuffled playlists. You're not sitting there listening to an entire album by an artist. You're listening to whatever Spotify serves up for the most part. Unless you're a real audiophile that's in there really trying to discover new music, for the most part, you're depending on Spotify's suggestions, Apple Music's suggestions, Deezer, what have you. Without that reach on strictly the music side, I don't think that people are going to achieve what they think they're going to achieve. First of all, Spotify doesn't give a rat's ass that Curtis King pulled his music down because he is such a small fry in the scheme of things. Maybe if somebody like Taylor Swift or Drake pulled their music off of Spotify, then maybe Spotify would start to take a second look. But with these independent artists pulling their music down, I promise you Spotify does not care. Because the average listener doesn't care if Curtis King or Ben Jordan come up in their shuffled music. They don't care about that. Most people established their music taste years ago, and that is pretty much solidified. I don't think that the answer is boycotting all of these streaming services. I think that that's a really impulsive and deleterious thing to do when it comes to your own personal reach on the music side. When I started my journey, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do music. I started to go into content, and I do enjoy it, and I realized that I had a passion for content and that it's a whole lot easier to grow a YouTube channel than it is to grow an interest in your music. And even Curtis King will tell you that. His interest in his music really bubbled up because of the content. Everybody got curious, like, this guy's so cool, he's so funny, he's teaching me so much stuff. Let me see. Oh, he's got good music. And that's a majority of the reach of these big creators. The door that's allowing their music to be heard at all is this content creation. But Spotify is a smaller, more like attic door, where people are hearing the music first. They don't know who you are, and they don't really care. They just know that they like this particular track, that they were served up by the Spotify, Apple Music, whatever algorithm. So anyway, I figured there are so many people weighing in on this stuff. LeahJudeBeats did a video, obviously. Curtis King has done several. DJ Ping 1 was just on the Brandman Network today. And this is being talked about by just about everybody. And I figured I would weigh in because I think that everybody is jumping the gun a little bit when it comes to taking their music down. I don't think that that's the way to go. I think that Spotify knows that nobody's happy right now. DistroKid knows that nobody's happy. TuneCore knows that nobody's happy. And I think that eventually they're going to respond without these impulsive, I'm ripping all of my music down from these streaming services, as if any of the streaming services or distributors will give a shit.